Good evening, everybody. How are we all doing tonight? It is the Tabletop Misfits. I am your host, Beaker, this evening with my co-host, Jacob. We will, be leading you in this lovely hour and a half adventure in our lovely tavern. As you can see, we have our special guest sitting right above us. But before we introduce our guest, I kind of want to roll through a little bit of, the preamble, as it were, the sponsors and all the fun stuff, and then we can really get the show going. So, as we go, if you are liking the music that you hear right now, because we all love the music that we have here, go check out our friends over at Monument Studios and check out their Fantasy Plus app. If you use the code MISFIT, you can get 30% off the purchase, or this is a big or, you can get 3 months of Fantasy Plus for free. And that's access to all like 5,000, 6,000 plus songs, quick hit sounds that we use it all here. We use it in Dress to Quest. We use it in all our shows. It's great. So anyway, go check that out. Monument Studios, use the code MISFIT. You want more math rocks? Go check out our friends over at CanadianDice.ca and use the code MISFIT15 for 15% off your purchase. If you want shirts that have the Beaker Builds logo or the Tabletop Misfits logo, go check out DungeonGrandmaster.com. And lastly, for right now, go check out our friends over at LastHopeMiniatures.com and go see the miniatures and all the paint that they have. Use the code MISFIT and you get 40% off your order. It's a huge fucking discount. Anyway, all the fun preambles out of the way. Now, back to our special guest up above. Please go ahead and introduce yourself for us.
Oh, thank you so much. Hello, everyone. My name is Mike. I am the co-founder and CEO of Arcane Circle, as well as the main GM and storyteller of Arcane Focus D&D, an actual play channel. I am online, chronically making things. Pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you here. Like, I know we've got a lot to cover in the next half hour about you, and then of course there might be some crazy thing happening in the next half hour, and then we have our happy hour at the very end. So let's go ahead and dive on into it, because traditionally here at the Misfits and Tavern, we have a couple of questions we like to ask our guests, and I don't always remember them properly. So one of the first ones is, how long have you been playing D&D, TTRPGs? How long has that been a thing for you?
There's a certain point where you stop counting.
Okay.
There's a certain point you're just like, I've even spoken to people who play since like the 80s, and I'm like, how long? And they're like, who cares? And I'm like, okay, that's a good point. No, but I've been playing for, I want to say 15 years now. I got introduced, the concept of D&D, obviously, and sort of role play, that was sort of introduced way back in the day when you start to, someone who loves games, you start to get introduced to other sub niches of the gaming community, and you kind of see that. And you're like, oh, okay, well, not my thing, and you move on. But it's always sort of been in the back of my mind, and it wasn't until I was working for a company called Newegg, and I was part of their marketing team, and I got to know the head of their production. They had a studio, and I was doing live streams for them, and their studio head came up to me and they were like, hey, you want to play D&D? And I was like, I've never had the chance. Let's go. And this was even before I was really into like Critical Role. I was really not like, obviously that's sort of the mainstay when you think of like productions. And I was playing D&D for 15 years. I started off with what I like to call the poster boy first time player, which was, can anyone guess here what a first time player would play as?
Fighter.
It's a barbarian.
No, Jacob got it. It was a human fighter, a champion human fighter. Ooh la la. And I played that for 8 years. And between that period, I was like, well, I guess I'll try. I've always been the creative type, so I was like, I guess I'll be a DM, try it with some other friends. And so I did so. And that shifted over to, I was already doing live streams, like I mentioned, for this company. And I was like, well, I can make a TTRPG live stream. I already have the technical know-how and the equipment. So I started to run that. And so that was where Arcane Focus D&D was built and born from. And then I was like, well, I have numerous years of experience under my belt. Let's make this a career. And so I started to do paid games as a professional GM for several years. And I started to notice sort of the problems that a lot of professional GMs and just GMs online go through. And so that I have that mentality of like, I don't like the way this works. I'll do it myself. And I kind of just put the gloves on and I started to build Arcane Focus, Arcane Circle with my co-founders. And so that's like my like TTRPG life in a paragraph.
Wow. I absolutely love it.
What edition did you start in?
I started late. It was a 5th edition, 2014.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it wasn't until I started to do live streaming that I started to experiment with other systems. And so I love GURPS. I played Kids on Bikes, which is super easy to get into. I've been a part of a Blades campaign for a year as a player. Blades is so good. It's the only system where I can say, yes, I'm so happy I was stressful today. It's I've been able to explore all these new systems. Daggerheart, I had to touch my toes a little bit into that. I haven't really been able to fully play beyond a one-shot. But I started at 5th edition and then exploded from there.
Yeah. Okay. No, that it's very, very similar. Well, not quite as similar, but as far as starting with 5th edition, I mean, that definitely is how I started. But I say orc or barbarian because that was my first character, was a half-orc barbarian, just because I needed something to play with.
Hard to put down.
It was like I was a drop-in player for this. It was like the first time playing. That's a whole other story for another time.
A half-orc barbarian just tells me as the GM that you're going down and your first word to me is no. Like,
That's funny.
All right,
I had no idea.
It's 80 points of damage. You're like, I'll take 40. No. All right. Well, you went down to 0. You're now unconscious. No.
Do you even know how to say no at that point though? Being new. You take 80. Okay.
Yeah. You take 80 and I get shut down. I'm like, all right.
Yeah. And then somebody leans over. Hey, you know this is how that guy works. Oh, okay.
That's kind of how that would happen, honestly.
Yeah.
And
I just had to ask.
Like,
I just had to ask because I started in 3.5, so I played that a little bit. That was where I really dabbled my toes, but I got to do that, and then I played a lot of 4E, and then got into 5, and like all 3 of them seem like night and day to each other. So
that's so wild. The fact that you said 4E, I don't meet a lot of people who actually dabbled in 4E.
Yeah.
Didn't they just call that Pathfinder?
It's the MMO version, like.
Yeah, I've heard. Obviously, I've never played it, but it's like being a part of the industry enough, so I start to see like patterns. Yeah. And every time I talk to someone who's been part of the D&D industry or like played the system for that long, go, yo, yeah, dude, I was playing since like the early days, and then I switched over to 3.5, and then I went over to 5, and I was like, but there's a 4, right?
What about 4?
We don't talk about 4, all right?
Yeah.
They can reach across the screen and grab him by the throat and go, stop talking about 4.
See, and that's the funny thing. I always ask people, what's your player kind of, or what's your kind of type of play? Because I think 4 really had it when it was, what type are you? Are you like a healer? Are you a DPS? Are you a tank? And I was always like the support leader type, and that's why I always kind of played those roles. And I think it's a really good way of like explaining like what your actual like play is like.
Yeah, that's valid.
Yeah.
I should be nodding to you like this because I know you're below.
That's fine. It's all right.
That's okay. That's okay. How tall are you?
Not enough.
Oh, then it would be like, hey, buddy.
Yeah.
Now, so you kind of already answered part of the second question, maybe even the third question too, and that was really, when did you start GMing and what was really that drive to get you behind the screen? And you kind of explained that a little bit. If you want to elaborate, that'd be great.
I learned something about myself during sort of my corporate jobs and where I was sort of production. I was doing live streams and stuff. Is that I really enjoyed creating things. It's kind of why like I taught myself how to do like Photoshop and taught myself how to do like video editing, because I it wasn't until that moment where I was like, oh yeah, I like creating stuff, because there was a moment where that got taken away from me. You know, in corporate life, you don't really have a choice. You know, bosses say, hey, we're done. You know, you're moving your attention to something else. You got to do it. And I remember the live streams I was running, I had to get shifted away from it. And that felt horrible. I felt sort of like a piece of me got taken away. And so what kind of drove me to become a GM was like, I got things to do. And I like to teach RPGs, and I have friends, and now I'm getting used to the system. I'm just going to build, because that's kind of the way my body works. Is like my mind goes, you just got to make something. So I built a world, and I built an archipelago where my players played in, and I was already well experienced in live streaming and recording. So it just kind of was a marriage of those two. That's where it kind of really popped off. Was I already felt like it was already a thing I can do. And it's funny because I was building this actual play, and I wasn't really doing it to get attention too. I was building it for me, my friends. We were just having fun, and I like to make stuff. And that was the whole point. And then it exploded. I started to work together with other creatives and illustrators, and I was able to play with the ex-COO of Astral VTT, and we grabbed him in, and it was really fun. We're still playing games.
Heck yeah.
That's awesome. So man, I wish I had that. I'm probably in the midst of that kind of career change right now anyway. That's a different conversation entirely. I have so many other things to talk about, but this is not the time nor the place. No.
Sit down, please. Go ahead and tell us about
now. Well, I do kind of, since you're already talking about starting Arcane Circle, why don't you tell us a little bit how that came about and what that exactly is?
Yeah, I was a part of the professional GMing scene for like 3 years at that point. And it kind of started with like two sparks. The first spark was I was a part of it, and I already started to see like the cracks, and I was like, man, there's a lot of like missed opportunities. There's a lot of like, the fact that you have to download a plugin so that way your D&D Beyond can talk to your Roll20. And I was like, that's annoying, especially because at that time I was running one shots for all these like new people and random players who never utilized the extension, and it became a lot of like repetitive teaching, and I was like, this is a little annoying. And that was the first strike, was like, something feels missing. And during one of my last year, because again, our company is only 4 months old, I was switching over from Chrome to Brave because I was like, I gotta change something up. I don't want to use Chrome anymore. And I ended up realizing I had to log into 5 or 6 different accounts. Oh no! I had to log into the professional GMing Discovery account. I had to log into my VTT. I had a campaign wiki, and I was logging into all these accounts. And I went, why can't these all be in one place? And like I mentioned before, it was like a lot of it just became a thing where it's like, well, there's no easy way to do this. I'm just gonna roll up my sleeve and do it myself. And I spent a month and a half just teaching myself how to use Figma, which is really good for like web design. And I taught myself how to do web design. And then I brought it to a developer, and I was like, you want to partner up? And he was like, I love this. Yeah, let's build this. And within 4 months, we're here, and we have a lot of features already offering. So it just became my way to be like, this has got to be easier. It's got to be an easier way. Oh my God, is that Morgan? Here's Evermore. What's going on, man?
Oh yeah, they definitely. It's one of our friends here at the Misfits. Always welcome here. No. So only 4 months, and you've already got as many features as you do. So what kind of features do you offer? I guess it's a better question.
Right now, we have our game discovery. So you can list games. We have game organization, as well as template creation, player organization, as well as attendance. And that was the foundation. I had to have that. There are also monetary options, like you can monetize your games. That was sort of the foundation. We then introduced a Discord bot, because most people don't talk through Roll20 voice and video. Nobody uses that. I used it once, and I was like, this is weird. So we made a Discord bot to help with transcriptions and summarization, both as an accessibility thing, but also to help like note taking. as a GM.
Hmm.
I was very lucky to play in a game from a GM who ran 5 sessions a week, and he's insane. But he had to use something like this. So I was like, this is a feature we had to add. So we have that. We have a campaign wiki feature in a beta version. So let's say you make a game and you get players to join in. You can generate a campaign wiki that you can start filling out for your note taking and give out sheets to players so they can start to work with it digitally as a journal. And that's it. So in its wiki, in its beta version, we want to expand on that. We are, I think, like a week and a half away from the launch of our training module. So we've been working with a bunch of creators and vetted TTRPG GMs like Dyson Autism, Vixie Bell, Buff DM, and a bunch of others. And we've been making videos and training videos to teach about table safety and system specific like updates and GM tips and site navigation. And all this is going to come with an achievement system because it does 2 things for us. We were like, well, one, as a player, you can see that a GM has done training and you're like more trustworthy. Wonderful. And it also helps GMs just sort of brush up on our skills.
That is awesome. There's not a lot.
That's what we offer now, and we have more things in the pipeline.
Jesus
Heck
Christ.
yeah. Even everybody else can upgrade from being a fighter.
I eventually multi-classed into a sorcerer. Just 2 levels. Just 2 levels.
Hey, that works. That totally works.
Magic fighter.
Was that one of like your favorite builds that you actually did?
No. Well, it was again. It was my first one. It wasn't until I was like maybe a year in, and I started to explore all of what D&D had to offer, and I was like, oh, I went with the basic one. Oh no. Well, I guess we're here already, and so my favorite build has to be the Illusionary Wizard, the 2014 version, because they have malleable illusion, and if you get high enough level with Mirage Arcana, you win. You just win. You control tactile and visual and audio. The GM puts down a sheet of paper and he goes, "This is our map," and you go, "No, I'm just gonna erase everything and then make my own map."
Oh man, I feel that. One of my guys actually this year that I had dabbled on kind of like what you said on making a character, and so I had one that like all the way up to like level 19 I had kind of pre-built this character to do 2, and I was like, you know what, they're really squishy still, so I ended up incorporating a third class to him. And so my other goal for last year was figuring out how do I give a really good class where they actually have 4 classes to them. And it's an insane build. I don't know how it worked out the way that it did, but it's amazing. It's all based in charisma. So Bard, Rogue, Sorcerer, Warlock. I mean, it worked out. So
okay, no, that's solid.
Yeah, I mean, and like that's one thing I think going forward with a lot of people, especially like when you can look at another thing and go, you know, if I take 1 level of this class, I can get exactly what I need in 4 levels of this other one. So why not multi-class and spill over a little bit? So.
Yeah, like I was saying, like fighter was obviously the first choice. That was sort of the, you know, how I jump started into the game. My favorite build, is once again the Illusionary Wizard. That's my favorite build mechanics wise. In terms of like character and choice, I love the Alchemist Wizard because I have a mixologist cocktail wizard who is very flamboyant, or no, sorry, artificer who's very flamboyant because I love playing against type. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
See, I never multi-classed. It just never. I don't think I've played enough D&D wise. I don't think I played enough to warrant multi-classing.
Never say never. That's my first rule. Never say never. Always say yet. I haven't done it yet.
I haven't done it yet. And that's kind of what I was saying. It was like I haven't played enough to really multi-class into anything. But then, of course, you know, I found Power Rangers, and that's my new love.
Oh, the
So-
teacher, the Power Ranger TTRPG. I've seen
Oh,
a few
yeah.
actual plays. That seems so much fun. Heck yeah.
You should watch mine.
Let's go. I mean, put it on my
Pip
list.
it.
Oh yeah.
Shout it out.
Yeah, shout out.
Plug. Put it in now.
Plug. Go watch Guardians of the Grid. All 10 episodes are available on YouTube, and I think on Spotify by now.
Is it a 10 episode series?
Yes.
Oh, good. Thank you.
And
Yes.
season 2 starts at the end of this month, or end of March. Sorry.
I started to fall in love with series with actual plays that have like a cutoff point. You know,
Oh,
they
yeah.
don't go on for
Yeah.
multi-year thing. I'm falling more and more in love with sort of the Dimension 20 style of storytelling nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, we a lot of our shows now are entering an era of just like 8 to 10 episode story arcs, little seasons.
That's good.
That's kind of what we're trying to do. Spoilers, maybe,
or what you
but-
can pull out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because beyond that, if you don't have any kind of control, if you don't have like those guardrails, I guess, to kind of keep you on track, you kind of lose the plot in a way. Everything just kind of
Well-
goes, and you're like, "What am I doing?"
Also, with that, let's just face it. You would rather sit down and watch like Supernatural or something where it says, "Hey, you're going to watch this many episodes, season 2." That way, you get that gratification in your brain. Versus like Young and the Restless, that's been going on since I was like 2, and you're like, you're on episode 605, and this is still considered season 1.
That's
What?
One Piece. Thank you very much. With almost 1,200 episodes.
Yeah, it's kind of why I don't get. I've had people tell me it's like you should watch One Piece. I'm like, you're crazy. You're like telling me to watch Detective Conan. I'm not gonna do that.
It's just as bad.
Those are 2 of my favorites.
They're good shows, but I'm not gonna watch 12,000 episodes.
It's not
Just read the
12,000,
manga.
Just 1,200.
Read the manga; it's always better.
I guess so. Wait, no, is that 12,000? We'll get into that later. We'll get into that now.
See, rabbit holes.
Add it to the list of when we're done with the show. What all we're talking about? How long was the show that you guys were in? An hour and a half. How long? 5 hours.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine. But no, it's not that I don't like D&D. I just we all find our niche, right? We all
Oh yeah.
D&D is like the gateway drug, right?
Yeah, because
Arguably.
it is arguably. I mean, it's not arguably. It is the most popular TTRPG system out there. It definitely,
Right.
if anything, is going to be a gateway drug. It will be D&D. So yeah, it makes sense that it's one of those things where like it's going to get you into the world, the community. It doesn't need to be the thing that staples you here. It's not the one that has to like
Yeah.
put a pike in your throat and be like, all right, now you love the system, don't you? No.
Yeah. So circling back to some of the questions that Chuck asked you earlier, though, on what you're developing or whatever right now, or is D&D like the main focus of it, or just because you have the knowledge of all these other systems too, is that also in the works for it?
Yeah, so other systems are in the works. Actually exclusive. I can say this now because we just signed all the paperwork this morning. We'll be
Stamp.
working together with Kenna Alexander, who is the creator of Coyote and Crow. And so
awesome.
we're going to be working to have that more displayed on the site as well. I think there's a business decision where you go, you got to have D&D.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
kind of have to. And I love D&D, and most focus is going to be on D&D, but we will be showing some love to indie systems. It's one of those things where it shouldn't be the end and be all of D&D, but it is going to be there. It's going to have a heavy hand because it's got to be. It's there. People want to play
Yeah.
it. But no, I will be showing some love to other systems.
Okay. You'll be like, you came here for D&D. Would you like to try Blades?
Oh my god! Yeah, you
Kids on
try
bikes?
Blades. You're gonna get
Yeah.
stressed out, and you're gonna thank me for it.
So I'm in a Monster of the Week one, which I hear is very close to Blades, because they use the same system, and I'm like, I've never played this. I'm kind of excited, but everybody's like, yeah, you're probably gonna die, and I'm like, I probably will.
I like games where I'm on the edge of dying at all times. Power Rangers, you have four to 5 health. That's it. It's ridiculous. I think we dropped our first episode of Candela Obscura, and that one can get rough. The episode that didn't air, we half of our team went down. So, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it was fun.
Jeez.
Well, Jacob, do you have any other questions for Mike right now?
I do.
Go for it.
So, since you've played a lot of different ones, are there any that you haven't gotten a chance to play yet that are on your list, like that you're like, yeah, if I get the chance, I'm playing this no matter what?
There are two I have in mind. One of them, and not because we just signed the deal, but I do want to play Coyote and Crow, and the reason why is beyond the fact that it does have sort of a focus on indigenous sort of culture, which I think is really a fun kind of realm to explore that hasn't really got a lot of attention in the industry. But two, I was talking to the creator, and that they have a really amazing sort of system that's built for hooks. So the way that they built it, especially when it comes to character creation, is you can give yourself faults. Anytime a system says, hey, you can give yourself some faults and you get bonuses for it, I like that. It's so cool because it encourages like faults in creator in characters, which I think builds a more well-rounded person. You can take faults and you get ability points that you can then distribute to your stats. So if you wanted to, you can give yourself like 10 faults. I mean, they don't recommend it, but you can give yourself like 2 or 3 faults, and it's weighed, and it's go, well, that's 3 points, 2 points, 1 point. Great. You can now have 6 points you can out distribute towards your stats. And that's so cool because that even gives the GM a moment to be like, all right, you're going through the forest, you're hanging out in this town, and one of the faults is you have a pet falcon that doesn't obey you, and you're trying to be sneaky, and all of a sudden the pet falcon rushes down, screeches, and reveals your space, which I think is so fun. So that one allows me to be a bit like a Blades thing, where I can kind of mess around with your rolls. And they have it built where the peak human performance, like a Batman, is like 5 in a stat. You have the possibility, you have the opportunity to go higher than that, 100%. But the moment you hit higher than a 5, you then gain notoriety. Because it's like you have high dex and you start to do a triple backflip. And now everyone in town's talking about you who's doing triple backflip. And there's someone who thinks that they're, the top dog when it comes to acrobatics, and now they hate you. So mid-game, a GM can be like, hey, you leveled up, you're higher in stat. Oh, you got a 7 in spirit. Cool, there's a shaman that wants to talk to you.
I love
so
it.
that was really cool. There's also a game that's upcoming called Pico, which is Pico. Pico. And you are playing as little bug creatures. And I forgot what system it's built on, but it might be its own, but I want to play. The art looks incredible. Everything looks very cutesy. And it's built, this whole scene is in a post-apocalyptic world where bugs are now intelligent, but they're still the size of a bug.
Oh, love it.
Oh, I'd rather that than Terraform Mars. But that's
true. That sounds like one of my games right now. It's we call it Taverns and Tales, or Taverns and Tacos. Tacos and Tales, my bad. Because of a joke. In my world, I actually have where there's things that fall into it from our world, like wormholes. And the whole idea that I got for this was Honey, I Shrunk the Kids in a library. So they go into this library, and all the shelf is one big shelf. It goes all the way around the house. And if somebody actually had stopped to really look at it, they would know, hey, you probably don't want to touch this blue gem because the shelf ends at this big blue gem. Everybody touches it, shrinks down in size, and they're all supposed to make their way up the shelf to get back to this thing and see what happens. So I love that, except the first session I had everybody go do a quest under the floorboard because I didn't have all my players yet. And now everybody is like, hey, we're just going to go under the floorboard. So they haven't ever moved up the shelf yet. They're still exploring under the floorboard, and I've had to come up with lore for all of it.
Oh man. Oh man, I know. That's such a that you know what fun that's such a GM experience. That's the only thing that
Yes.
we're ever gonna have. I know that here's Evermore. There's a question about the intricacies of AC.
Yep.
Super easy. It's you're able to log in via Google account or Discord account, and from there we have what's called a GM or player dashboard, which is sort of the first thing you see when you click on your account after making it, and literally all it is it's what I wanted as a GM to be like. I want to see everything at once. So it shows you what game you have planned next. It shows if you're a GM, you have the ability to create your games quickly. It shows you any updates. We have a notification bar, and it shows you your week view. And so, yeah, in terms of navigation, it's super, super simple, especially right now, since the majority of our features kind of revolve around game discovery and playing. I've been hard at work having a version 2 of the site that makes it even easier for navigation. So that'll come up sometime.
Awesome.
Wow. All right. Well, you know, we've hit our 30-minute mark,
Oh yeah.
and I don't think either one of you can hear it, but our dragon just arrived. So that means we're going to get to talk about Mike's monster that he decided to talk about this week. So for those who don't know, this year we are talking about monsters with our guests, their favorite monster and how they use them, what they really love about them, how they even use them in their games, and maybe what they might modify or improve upon if they could. And this week, Mike, what did you pick?
I picked the Hag.
Ooh.
I
Just the Hag.
I feel like I needed a little laugh behind that, like
there it
yes.
is. There it is. Oh, that's great. So, okay, what about the Hag? What? I mean, there's such a wide variety. So why the Hag? And do you have a specific type?
There's an interesting concept when it comes to monsters that are immortal, and hags that I if I've done my research correctly, I don't think they age beyond a certain point. There's a certain thing I like about, or maybe just they're get super old, but there's something I enjoy about a monster that has a long lifespan that doesn't really play by the rules. You could just take a standard hag stat and be like, yes, this one can talk to animals and plants and make things poisoned. It's like, sure, you could be boring, or you can take every kind of inspiration from standard media that tells you that hags are just sick creatures. They relish in old magic of taking like apple cores and dipping it into something and turning it into like an arrow if they wanted to. Like you are unbridled with the amount of creativity you can add. You can get as crazy as you want. I had a hag in one of my older campaigns that was never streamed. It was sort of a home game that you would walk into their hut and they would have bird cages with like half-eaten apple cores that are just sitting there, and some of them would have like half frogs, half weasels just sort of sitting there stitched in the middle, and you'd be like, why is that there? What does it do? And you're like, you don't need to know. Hags don't need to tell you. It's all about theming and sort of this sort of influence. I had to tell a player, oh, you want sight? You want to see the big baddie? As a hag, it's like, cool. Eat this eye and you'll get sight. And it's this mixture of disgusting magic that kind of really excites me. It's why I built sort of a 7-part miniseries called Covenant Chaos, where players played as hags. And I built so many hags around it. But no, they're such a multi-tool. They're so good to utilize, and they have this sort of theming about them that can't be met.
No, you're right. Because what? I mean, you've got a hag for every type of land setting there can be. On almost any plane, there's a hag.
Yeah.
And then they just fuck with your players. They fuck with whatever.
Oh, they're so good. I love hags. So when I was building Covenant Chaos, I started to build numerous hags that were based off existing ones. My favorite had to be the Annis hag, which is very like they're the strong ones. They're the big, beefy, bulging backs of like these like lumbering giant hags that are less magic oriented and more like, I can't wait to hug you till you pop. And so I started to build hags that were based off of that idea of like they're just physically very intimidating. And so I built what's called a blinking hag, which works in the same vein as like a 1980s serial, like the sort of the monster killers, you know, a full Jason Voorhees where you run a corner and you lose sight of them and then they blink in front of you, because that was the thing you weren't supposed to do. You're not supposed to keep them out of sight. So long as you keep them in sight, they don't blink in front of you. And that was really crazy. So there's a lot of others like, what happens if a hag had the power to rot, turn you to rot? You know, so I made a rotting hag. There's the falsehood hag, lumbering hag, night. My favorite is also the night terror hag. You know, there is the night hag, and I wanted to make something that sort of represented like you sleeping. This thing's gonna sit on your chest.
I love it.
Just sit there and like sleep paralysis. Oh my god, what are you doing?
Yeah.
They do really well. So the night terror hag, I gave them bonuses for their hold person, because the whole idea is when you have a night terror, you're kind of frozen a little bit.
Right.
And so if you can catch someone in a hold person, you could start draining health a little bit, but you can. And so I started to build all these really cool hag ideas, and it just started to flow.
It's like throwing like the superhero playbook at hags. Like, here you go.
Yeah. So we want to play.
Which I love the idea that you brought up with the Annis hag, because there's actually a YouTube show that I like to watch called Dungeon Soup, and they have the Chaotic Good Barbarian, which is this guy right here. And they have a hag episode where he goes in, he talks to the hag and everything, and she's like, oh, all I needed was like the essence of this child, which was like a piece of her hair. So the guy rips off a little piece of the hair and gives it to her, and the hag drops it in there. She gets all burly and everything, and she's like, oh, now I can handle it. And he goes, no, I let you do this. And she goes, what do you mean? He goes, I like my playthings to be endurable. And he started beating this hag up, and you're like, oh no.
It's kind of why I also like Hexbloods. Or is it Hexborn? I think it's Hexblood actually. Yeah, right.
Hexborn.
It's one of those subclasses or sort of those lineages that you don't really play too much, but I love that subclass so much. I was able to play one. I don't get to play as a player very often, but when I do, I have fun. And I was able to play as a Hexblood who was somewhat charismatic and was a ranger, but a lot of the times whenever we had a moment, like he was very open to say he was connected to hags. And so players were like, oh, it's fun. And I was like, yeah, he did you a favor. So now you have to give him something. And I'm like, what does he want? I want your hair. I want a piece of just one strand of hair. And they made everyone at the table nervous. And I'm like, please, just give me a hair. And I didn't have a plan for it. It just made everyone nervous.
Oh, man. I love it.
That's some of the best things you can do. If you don't know what you're going to do, just freak out your players.
Yeah.
Even as a player, I couldn't stop.
Get a tooth knocked out. Hey, can I have that?
Yes. It's like one of those things, like something happens, like they lose blood, and you're just like, gotta just dab that up. It's like, what are you doing? Don't worry about it. I got things.
After the fight, like some drying bloods on a leaf, and you're like, oh, hold on, put it in a pouch. What's going on?
I can't tell you how many times I got the question, what are you doing? And I'm like, don't worry about it. I got things.
And inside, you're like, I have no idea.
Inside, I'm like, I don't know what to do with this stuff.
Yeah. Look,
I freak you that out. That's what I'm doing.
I made a little doll out of it. Whoa, what's the doll for?
I ended up just using it as like for like cure wounds. I was like, all right, this is part of my focus. I'm healing you. But it was fun for the first. Obviously, you don't want to be that player who's like, I'm causing stress for no good reason. Eventually, I had to reveal it. It was like, all right, yeah, I'm healing you because of it. I'm using your material. It's kind of how I'm healing you.
Love it. Love that idea. Yeah, I see, and I feel like hag almost is interchangeable with witch, just like with more flavor to it. kind of.
I mean, yeah,
Maybe.
you're not. You're like they're like cousins. It's not too far off.
Yeah.
I see a hag as like an evolved witch.
A witch is in a
Yeah.
cozy cottage who has everything all neat and done up and has like a bubbling cauldron and is like, please sit down. Let me show you my wares. I've got plenty of things. And a hag's like, come on in. I'm not even asking you at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a Snow White, like night and day, like the queen, and then when she changes, like witch, hag.
Two sides of a coin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I mean, that could be kind of cool, like doing that. Ooh, campaign for you. They never know because it's like a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde situation. Turns into a witch, turns into a hag, and they never know it's the same person. You're like, I already did that.
Yeah. Well, no, I didn't build that. I did something similar when it came to Jekyll and Hyde. I had a character who was a satyr. She was a mother. She was a strong, large mother. She was a barbarian. And she was a beast barbarian, sort of the path of the beast. And so it was one of those things where I had to talk to the GM and I was like, if I go into a rage, can I choose not to get my subclass features? I just want to do like standard rage stuff. And he was like, why? And I was like, I have a reason why. So I like the idea of a barbarian who instead of rages gets emotional. So I had a character who had a very tragic backstory, standard D&D stuff. And the concept was that they care very much so. Like they're a mother of many children, and so when they're with their party, they're like, I'm the team's mom. And so they can rage normally and get angry, and that's when they get no subclass features, or when they feel like someone's in danger and they have to rage and pull out the subclass. I'm very much in love with the Wendigo as well. That would have been my secondary choice for monster, and so they turned it, since they were already a satyr, very like antlers and horns and everything, they just sort of turned into like this lithe looking skeletal satyr, like this Wendigo, and that's when the subclass features are enabled for the raging, and that's because they're worried, because as a parent of myself, you're always worried about your child.
Right.
That's true.
So I would like to rage and I would like to worry. Those was my two features.
That's great.
You always hear the stories about the women who could lift cars up to save their kids.
Kind of the concept, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Adrenaline burst.
You heard it here. Now she's a hag.
Now I'm gonna do it.
Wow.
Now we've got a reason.
You just turned a mom into a hag. That's horrible.
Exactly.
Turn it.
That's
That's how you do it.
I mean, who knows? Who knows what's in those purses, Chuck? Maybe there's poison apples that give you super strength,
Or brass knuckles.
Never know.
or breast knuckles.
If she's a barbarian.
Hold
brass
on,
knuckles.
let me get into my purse.
Well.
Oh man.
So what's
That was
what is one of the most iconic things you've done with a hag in your game?
Oh boy. Most iconic thing I've done with a hag in my game.
Mm-hmm.
I think the most iconic thing that I've done is I wanted to make a bug, like a hag that was a bug, and so I made a Trikeen hag that looked very much like a moth. And so she was like this large, luminescent moth creature who very much had the abilities and sort of theming of a hag. And so when my players met them, they came to her because one of their NPC friends, I did a really bad curse, and which was this standard tavern keeper had a night affliction whenever he saw the moonlight or whatever, he had a plant that was growing beneath his skin, and he would split open with vines and like sort of like plant matter holding his body together, and it was very painful. And so they finally caught him because they thought he was a monster, and they're like, wait a minute, you're our tavern keeper, what the hell's going on? And he's like, I've been cursed and I can't tell anyone unless, like, and of course stories go on, and they had to talk to this hag, and it was very fun because they walked in and she's running a tea shop, and there are actual tea shops where you can kind of like have tea parties in the back.
Mhm.
And so she had a sort of a section for the VIP. So the players paid a lot of money. They went to the VIP, and there are very Arabian kind of design of kind of carpets and multicolored colors of carpets and rugs that are kind of draped on the ceiling and on the floor and on the walls. And there are like numerous carpets that are rolled up and kind of placed against the corners of the room. And I remember my players like sitting down and going, okay, we know we're dealing with a hag. Let's not screw this up. And so the hag is like, well, of course she's in disguise. She's like, well, you made your selection. I'll go back and make some tea now. And goes and hops in the water. Everyone's like, search. And they look at one rag or one rug, and they unroll it. And there's like body parts, just skulls and finger bones and all these weird things. They're like, roll it back up, roll it back up. And that was sort of the most iconic moment where I had everyone going, oh no, we're screwed up. We screwed up. We messed up. And so I was like, yeah. Because anytime you bring a hag in, everyone goes, don't drink the tea. Don't do anything. And there's nothing wrong with the tea.
It was the rugs you had to worry about the whole time.
It was the rugs, yeah.
Oh man,
Oof, that just gives me the heebie-jeebies. So did they get away?
Yeah, again, the Tavern Keeper was cursed, so they had to basically negotiate with the hag to be like, hey, can we remove this curse? And when they revealed that they knew she was a hag, she didn't say anything. All she did was get up, and I had to describe very quietly like the sound of the chair being moved against like wood on wood, the fact that she started to slowly walk, and with each footstep of a little grandmother started to feel a little heavier, and she started to walk away, and people are like, what is she doing? And I'm like, follow her. They followed her to the front like of the shop, and she just looked at everyone going, leave. Magic. Everyone turned around and left, locked the door, and was like, let's talk. And they had to make a deal with her, and a full kind of like escorting her to a different space because she missed home, and almost killed a few people along the way. Not her, but the places they were going. And yeah, it was really fun.
I love it.
So for anyone who is, new to using a hag or wants to use a hag, how would you recommend they kind of play up the tropes of one?
They're very self-serving. Hags are very self-serving. I like to play hags who are like businesswomen, where they understand that messing with high-level adventurers is probably not a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
And so it very much comes into they won't show weakness, but they're willing to bend. I like hags that are smart, who goes, oh, you're level 15 paladin. Not recognize it, but recognize that you're very high level, and goes, what do you want? Like, what do you like? And kind of like the self-serving of like, if I can't fight you, I'm going to trick you. And so
Right.
Always when you sort of build a hag and start to run it, they're self-serving. They want something from you. They're going to get the upper hand, whether they have to be sly, sneaky, or strong. And I would definitely play for that. For anyone who's like, if you trick me, I'm going to kill you. And it's like, all right, I would never lie to you. And when you start talking, don't tell lies, tell half-truths. Omit information. It's like, what would this do for me? If you're trying to heal a family member and they're like, here, feed them this. It's just an apricot, small fruit, have them chew it and eat it and they'll be fine. It's like, what is it going to do to them? It's going to heal them. What else? Magic has to take place. It needs
Side
to
effects.
cement. It needs to. What's the side effects?
Yeah.
Well, resurrecting someone's not easy. There's obviously going to be side effects, but everyone's body takes it differently. I could never tell you.
Mm,
A lot of omission.
I love it.
Omission. They go, you know what's going to happen. I know possibilities, but it would be uncouth of me to give you every single one.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
See,
that's-
and the idea that I really love with the hag is the fact of, like, when you think about a lot of old things, we think about legends and we think about like tall tales and things like that. So I mean, you could almost take any children's rhyme and make a hag out of it. Like the old lady that lives in a shoe. What if she was a hag?
Yeah, she'd be a copper, cobbler. Excuse me. She'd be a cobbler. She'd be working with shoes all the time. You know.
Yeah. And then what are her kids? I mean, like that's what you got to question next. What are the kids?
Here, this is what I would do with a shoe hag. Is they would be a cobbler who works in kind of the village under a guise all the time, and she would sell shoes to the military. And the moment that everyone's wearing her shoes, because they're really well made and they have magic and they're really good, they don't know that, but they are. The moment everyone's asleep, there's my army. Up, 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 walk this way. Into the pit. And that's how a hag destroys a kingdom.
Yes. Oh, there's so many things.
What is the player character you hate to love and character you love to hate? I hate to love the horny bard. I think it's so overdone.
It's got to be done right.
It's got to be done right, but most of the time they're not. And then what's a character you love to hate? Paladins. Paladins. I have a player, if you ever watch this, I'm talking about you. I'm talking about you.
Called out.
He's talking about you, guy.
Called out.
Specifically you.
Or girl. Who knows?
Yeah, she. You know what you did.
Yeah.
Do tell. I feel like I have to know what they did now.
Spill the tea.
I've
Hag tea.
the many one shots I've ever played, I've never actually played a paladin. And so I was very unaware of the magnitude that a paladin provides to not only themselves, but also the party. And I think at level 6, they had like a plus 12 wisdom saving throw.
Cool.
Oh, God. Okay.
So it was very much of I would say less of a min-maxing, but more of they knew what they were playing. They're experienced in the game. They know what they're doing. But because of sort of the high wisdom and all this stuff, they were very observant. So they played as sort of the group mom, which is fun. It's good. You should play it. That's always nice to have that niche. But that means I can't sneak up on you because you're so damn perceptive.
And that's all they did to you? Was they were just too perceptive?
Oh, we're just touching the top of the iceberg. All right. Did I not tell you about the 12 save? They're a powerhouse, man. The moment I give them any leeway where I'm like, yeah, I guess the creature doesn't back up because they wouldn't know. And they're like, cool. Bonus action. Face step. Shift or face steps. Jump over there. Hit him. Smite. It's like, oh, how much damage do you do this round? They're like 78. I'm like, level 8. How?
Oh, so were they Fey touched?
They've taken Fey touch.
Okay.
Oh,
hey,
boy.
there's a way around everything. Okay.
Distance. I've learned.
I believe in you.
Don't worry. They're up. They'll find their. I think the paladin has gone down.
Yeah.
Most often than not, from that particular party. Also, monks can be very annoying. I also love monks. I kind of have a love-hate relationship.
Did this paladin ever step on a hag carpet?
No. Not yet.
Not yet. Not yet.
Soon.
That's when it gets real.
Sounds like there's a rug sale going on here soon.
Yes.
There's a joke in the 6 campaigns I've run that there's always a rug of smothering. There always is. Somewhere in the world, in your campaign, in the world that you're living in, there is a rug of smothering waiting for you. Is in the beginning of the campaign? Huh, maybe it's near the end. You'll never know.
Oh, I love that.
That's always the best. Is there always a hag with it, though?
Not all of them. Like I mentioned before, I love hags. I started to overutilize them in sort of my campaign 1. And so campaign 2, I was like, I'm going to make a conscious effort to not use them. mainly because when I finally finish it and I do campaign 3, can't wait to use them again.
Gotta be smart about it.
Just a little hag, just a little bit,
Just a little hag, you know,
just a little
one.
hag.
Want to be
Yeah,
plugged in.
yeah. Like no, like this is what you picked. You got to use a hag
A
in it somewhere.
haglet, if you would.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Hag.
got to be there somewhere. I feel like the king from like Alice in Wonderland, just a little hag, just a little bit. Just put it in there. You haven't used one yet. Just one.
You know, if anyone is looking for any monster to utilize that would be brilliant beyond their, I mean, admittedly their characters, like the monster stats are not impressive. So obviously make your own, have more fun, give them more power, but they have more story creativity than people give them credit for.
No, that's very fair, because I know, like you said, their stats aren't super high, but the intellect that goes behind with it, the way that they're able to sparse their words and, you know, cut deals the way that they do, and they're alive. They've been alive for as long as they have for a reason.
Their lore gives them the opportunity to be whatever they want.
Yeah.
See, and I know that we're getting close to the end of the monster, but I actually had one that I love the aspect of what happened with it, and it actually was because of what the player actually picked to play. And they were like, hey, I'd like to really play a frog character, so I had to figure out like the stats for a bullywog. So they did that, and they had split off from the party, and this is like everybody. They're like, I'm going to go for a stroll. This person's like, I'm going for a stroll over this thing by the lake. And I was like, good, cool. You're crossing a bridge. You hear something underneath it. They're like, oh my God. And I was like, you look down and it's a green lady. And it was a green hag that was like sitting in like a lily pad waiting for them, you know, basically. And she was waiting to like catch these kobolds and stuff that were fishing and like eat them. And they made a noise and she turned around and got him with a dagger real quick. And the person going forward at night, whenever they would fall asleep for like, or take a long rest, they could only really take short rest. They turn into a Banderhob and fuck with the rest of the party. And it was like, to this day, the character's still like, so can I go back and like find the lady? I'm like, she's not there. You don't know where she is. And it was the one I had used from Wander Beyond the Witchlight, and it was to push them to try and go into playing that campaign setting. Never got there. So I was like, you'll never find her. Like, what are you supposed to do? So
they're useful. They're fun.
Yeah.
Well, you know, we have now entered the hour mark.
Happy hour.
Which means we are now in happy hour. So for the next 20 to 30 minutes, it is now a free-for-all of questions from whoever is in the audience. I know a lot of them will probably be back in the next 40 seconds from the ad. But in the meantime, Mike, go ahead and grab your D20, and we can at least kick it off with one question while we wait for our lovely, lovely patrons to come up with questions.
That's going to be a lucky number 13.
You
Okay.
get ahead.
This is a good one, actually. What is your favorite mission to put players on?
Masquerade. I think of a party scene that could explode in any moment is a fun kind of because you know eventually it's going to lead to a fight, which satisfies sort of when it comes to D&D, like that fighting kind of desire of like showing off your moves, but it also encourages a lot of role play. Like if there is a mission to be like, you have to find someone who's magically disguised at this party, and you will be too. It feels very Ocean 11 of like, are they here in the party? Are they somewhere in the bedroom? Are they kind of moseying around? Who's the host? Can we find them? What's the ways that they can escape? You know, we have to get this guy. So it leads to a lot of creativity. It leads to a lot of So of an open-ended kind of like opportunities for players to get really kind of like set things up, and sort of really exercise that muscle. And they can role play and go, ha ha ha, yeah, are you the host? Would you tell me? And you kind of satisfy every bit you need to when it comes to Dungeons and Dragons.
I do like a masquerade. I do like a masquerade. Speaking of, in Candela Obscura, we're actually working towards a masquerade, so that's gonna be fun.
It handles so well for anything you want.
Oh yeah, no, it's gonna be great, especially because I'm playing a magician who is kind of a horny bard adjacent. So
this is why you were opposed to it earlier.
Exactly.
You're like, wait, hold on.
I'm the exception to the rule.
Oh my god.
I'm the exception. That is kind of because there is a lot that you can do with the masquerade because they're so prevalent, not just like in a tabletop game, but even if you look at video games that are set in kind of these fantasy worlds, there's usually a masquerade that happens because there's some kind of, deceptive plot that you have to avert or whatever it is. They're just a lot of fun because it's like you said, you have to RP while you're also trying to sneak around and maybe kill somebody and not get caught and make sure you go back to the party
is very tempted for being in a party full of rich people to not pick someone's pocket, and then the results of failing that, and then the druid is like, well, I guess I'll just be a squirrel or like a spider and hang out and kind of like get sneaky information while I'm doing it. And fighters can be like, cool, I'm gonna guard this back entrance because we know we're gonna funnel him here. So everyone, it's such a useful mission type where everyone feels useful. Everyone has a plan to do. Everyone has a hand, because there's some things where like you're scouting ahead. It's like, of course the ranger and the rogue is going to go ahead. They're the best sneaky guys. The best sneaky boys. They're going to go up front, and the sorcerer in the back is just going to chill out until they're needed. But
it's all fun. It's all fun and games till somebody eats the last finger sandwich from the barbarian.
Yeah,
all holds barred.
Then the bard's like, don't, you gotta stop. You're gonna let us. You're gonna reveal our location. Can't.
They made me spill my tea.
Yeah, they called me a name. I didn't understand a word they were saying. Like, you don't need to. We're gonna move on.
Just wait. Don't rage now, please, God.
That's when you just take them to the kitchen and say, go eat.
Yeah. You take it. There's an open bar, and you just drink a little bit. You'll have fun.
Hopefully that might be their vehicle into getting even madder.
Yeah. Do you guys have the same sort of mentality when it comes to like what type of game type you would want to run, or does Masquerade kind of cover that?
I mean, I don't know. Jacob, do you got something?
I don't know. See, I'm kind of a wild card because I'm kind of like, we'll talk about this. I will make a thing for this, and then my mind will run 90-0, and it will spawn into a whole slew of the same situation in many different environments. And then it will be, which one of those seemed like it made the most sense for whatever I was trying to go for. So, I don't know. I mean, there's just too much.
See, I have a penchant. It's not necessarily like a specific like mission type, like, oh, it's going to be a masquerade, but I love missions that involve exploring character backgrounds.
Like
whatever it may.
I love when you have like an arc for a character, like your backstory's been leading up to this point, this second.
Exactly, because I did it. I did it extensively for the Power Rangers game. Like every episode, I focused on one ranger at a time, and you got to get a little bit of sneak peek behind each of their backgrounds, like who they were, like why they were chosen to be a ranger. And I enjoy that exploration because it lets it's a delicate balance for the GM, as a GM, to have the focus on a single player, yet keeping the rest of the party involved. Yeah. Right? You don't want to completely steal the focus away from them. You want everyone to be involved in this, but you also get that satisfaction of seeing a player really dive into their backstory that they gave you, and you're just like feeding them little nuggets from it, and how the rest of the party interacts with that.
Yeah.
There's this idea that when you make a backstory for a character, you know, when you're playing your character and you made a backstory, obviously that determines how you act and how you role play and how you make decisions, and that makes your character feel alive. The moment the GM grabs your backstory and goes, now we're putting into the forefront and we're now focusing on it, it almost emphasizes that your character is more alive than it once was, because it's like now the backstory that you've been hinting at and that's slowly been deciding your decisions it's not just hints, it is full front for everyone to see, and that's kind of, I agree that's why like character arcs are so important, because it makes a player feel so important. Like the moment you put them in an arc and they go, oh my god, we're dealing with my stuff, it's like, yeah, they don't want to miss a beat. I guarantee you put that character will never miss a session. They will stick around, you know, sleet and snow, they'll do it. Yeah, it makes them feel alive. And I've said this a few times too as a GM. We're emotional vampires. Game masters, we want to feed off your emotion. If I can make you pissed off at a villain, good. I want to drink that in. I don't want to cause you trauma, and I don't want to make you cry, but it'd be really nice if you did. Yeah.
Yeah.
And a side note, and you know, one of our guests here is, you know, saying it sounds familiar, and there's a reason for that, and that's because James runs a Shadow Dark home game for me and my wife and a couple of other friends here, and we've been building this world together as a group. Like every session, it's like another question that we're like slowly building this world out, and it's really great. But we've also given him a little bit of our backstories, and he has taken that opportunity extensively to explore that. And I know for Grant, who's in the chat, he and James's son had to essentially like come up with a very emotional background with like about their adoptive father, how he died, and like some other stuff that happened. And then my character ended up having an encounter with a former mercenary companion that betrayed him, and it was just, we got heavily involved because yes, it made it real for all of us.
I would like to offer a tip when it comes to character backstory. I've had 2 instances where a player comes to me and they go, I made a backstory where I'm okay, or I don't really have a lot of connection. And as a GM, you look at it and you go, there's not a lot of hooks here. You know, there's not like a big hook I can grab you by. Generally, most like session zeros, I ask my players to come up with like 2 small hooks for themselves. Like, I want to go learn at a monastery because I'm a monk, or I want to go learn at a school because I'm a wizard. And there were 2 instances where I had 2 players who gave me backstories that kind of were like, not bland, but like they didn't really have anything that kind of shook them. And so my tip to new GMs and sort of veterans is, if you ever run into that, don't worry, you can always build emotion from something existing. I had a monk character who her trainer was this very old Triton or sea elf, like very old, and was on his last legs, and he's like, I guess I'll train you. You know, I've had skills, and that was my player's concept of her backstory, was like, I was trained by this very old guy, and then he died, and then I have to go tell his family that he died. That's her arc. That's what she has to do. And I went, oh, well, that's not emotionally draining. And so what I ended up doing, I was like, well, fine. He never talked about his backstory. Your trainer, he never talked about his time as a young guy. And I ended up making him this sort of complex trainer who was once a hero and kind of didn't turn out so well. And the reason why he left to her island was to get away from it all. He got divorced. His ex-wife broke up with him. His kids don't want to talk to him. And the fact that he's dead is now it's more complex. It's like they're not sad. They're not sad that he's gone. And his actions have lingering consequences that she never had sort of ramifications of what occurred. And my player looked at me and goes, he was just my trainer. Why did you do this? I idolized him. And I was like, I know you did. I know. You didn't want to put yourself to be vulnerable? I'll make it vulnerable.
Tough cookies.
Yeah. I will do it myself. I had another player, so like an instance was, she was a wizard who went off to school and blew up the school and was like, well, I just want to be a better wizard. And I was like, that's a backstory. That doesn't have a lot of pool. Tell me about your life. What's your home life like? And she's like, well, I had a family that owned a flower shop. I'm like, all right, well, that didn't work. And I have a brother who's in the military. And I'm like, there you go. That's my end. Yeah. You haven't talked to your brother in a few months and years. And then she's like, well, okay, well, what happened? You fell out of contact. And all of a sudden, one of the captains reaches out to her via letter and goes, we're so sorry for your loss. And she's like, what? I'm like, yeah. And then she starts getting hints that he's actually alive. Actually, what he is undead. And a necromancer is currently puppeting him. And so she kind of saw her brother die twice in her arms. And she turned around. She was like, why did you do this? And I was like, because you didn't give me anything. And I'll make my own.
Yeah.
It's your own fault. It's your fault, not mine. It's your fault.
Put drama.
Yeah.
You make the drama or I make it worse.
No, and that makes a lot of sense. Like in my home campaign, I asked everybody, they all got magic weapons. And I homebrewed them. And so I was like, hey, well, I need you to kind of tell me what you want it to be like. You know, what's the idea? Like, what's the direction of your character too? Like, first 5 levels, boom, boom, boom. Tell me exactly kind of the idea. And I have like 3 new players in that one that have never played before. And that's kind of what it is. Like, you're getting like 2 sentences of what they have as a backstory. And so I actually used the weapon as part of their stuff for a backstory, because I was like, well, why do you want your weapon to do this? Oh, well, da-da-da. So I came at them as more of like asking it to build this item for them, but then actually pulled more out of it because I asked those questions of all this stuff. Now I have a guy that fought as an undead. He picked a monkey from like one of the Japanese inspired like races. So he's like this big monkey guy called a Saraju from one of the Japanese 5e books. And he did that. Well, he's like, well, I'm going to start out as a paladin, but I also want to multiclass as a warlock. I was like, cool. Well, what were you imagining this? No idea for his paladin god what he wanted. But for the other one, he goes, I'd like to pick Cthulhu. I was like,
okay.
Alrighty. We'll go with this. Well, so when he died, Cthulhu goes, I'll make a deal with you, but if I bring you back to life, I'm going to mark you. And he goes, not only that, you'll be dead. So when he came back, he has a mustache that's actually like Zoidberg. He's got little tentacles. They got into a fight farther down, and he kept trying to call Cthulhu, and Cthulhu wasn't answering. Like, I've done this thing for you, you know, I'm not going to help you again, basically. Like, you do stuff for me or there's no bargain. And I was like, I'm going to take from your stuff, your god that was your paladin, Izunagi. And he basically put his hands down and a rainbow shot out and grabbed a hold of the people and pulled them back to him like a wave. And now his tentacles are in a rainbow fashion. I was like, yeah, you stick out to everybody now.
Yeah, good luck blending in.
Yeah. So, you know, it's stuff like that I think while we're playing and I hear them say different stuff that I have to pull that. Like, I know you're saying this as a joke, but this could actually happen.
Yeah.
So
I'd love to give a tip for real quick, just tips for GMs who, because this is also sort of a fun thing that not a lot can talk about, is giving people cursed items.
Yes.
Whenever you, especially with veteran players, whenever you give someone an item, what's the first thing they do? I cast Identify. Oh, it's cursed now, is it? Tip for those GMs who are having problems getting a player to take that hook is combined it with an already pre-existing item. So a ring of protection, you provide someone, here's a gift, I'm providing you a ring of protection. Say it out loud. Don't make hints like, oh, it looks like an ornate ring that has magical properties, and make it mysterious. Put full on, like you went to a jewelry store, have that little white tag that reads ring of protection +1. Literally label it and go, here you go. Here's your ring of protection. And they're not going to question it. You won't question it. If you were given a cloak of protection, you won't question it. If the GM says, here's your cloak of protection, you're going to go, thank you. Because what you do is you do give them that +1 for the ring of protection. They just don't know they get the other action additives until they attune to it. And DM it to them. Don't tell the party. Have a little stipulation that they can't talk about it.
Ooh, I love that. I love that.
It's okay. My cursed item's going to be a rug of smothering. That's what it's going to be.
Well, I think we got the way that we've been rambling about just one question. I think we might have enough time for one more. So if you want to roll that D20.
And that's going to be a 6.
Well, you've kind of already discussed this. What was your first character? You talked about this one already extensively. So if you want to roll a different one.
Let's roll again. 7.
How do you stop people from being murder hobos?
I've been very lucky that nobody has tried. I think there's sort of two methodology that sort of come to mind. First and foremost, you just tell people in the very session 0, hey, please don't be murder hobos. I'm not going to stand for that. Just prefacing that you don't want to have that experience at your table is enough to dissuade a lot of people.
Yeah.
And just to get them in the sort of the heads up, like, I don't like it. As a GM, the ones who respect it will respect it, and the ones who don't, get them out of the table. But another ways that I like it where players don't immediately go into aggression is make an NPC very endearing, even if they're a villain. I had a villain who was very flamboyant of like, I can't wait to put a show for you and I'm going to put you under my spell. They don't want to kill this guy right away. They're like, he's so entertaining and kind of endearing how dumb and evil he is that I kind of don't want to kill him right away. And so that's my tip is make fun NPCs who are very calm and kind of nice. Like no one wants to kill like a nice shopkeeper who just calls you love and gives you like sweet tea and is like, can I get you anything else? Like, and is very caring. No one wants to kill that person immediately if they have a good heart. But also put a little bit of fault into your villains. The moment a villain steps in is like, I'm here to kill, and drops their sword and like, excuse me, kind of picks up their sword. That immediately you're like, let him talk. Let him just have a moment. He's having a rough day.
It's a bad start. You can start over. Mulligan. You get a mulligan on that.
I feel like I had 2 good ideas for this. One of them was I took the purple worm out of the desert and actually put it like in the forest. And the thing is it wouldn't come close to the village because it was drawn to the scent of blood like a shark. And I was like, okay, so if you guys don't kill a lot of people, we'll be okay.
Oh, that's smart.
But then as a DM, I flipped that on its head, and there was actually like a more Jack the Ripper character that came out, and they had to go find that guy.
Oh, that's so good.
I was like, you have to stop them or this worm will come eat you guys. Nobody in it was early on. And I was like, nobody is strong enough. Like, even all of you guys, even like the rest of the people that are visiting this town, nobody is strong enough. Even if you guys all band together, there's a % chance you're all dead. And they were like, oh shit.
That's a solid plan.
Yeah.
Go stop Jack the Ripper.
And then the second one was kind of like what you said. I had a guy that was a were rat that was a over like a circus, a traveling circus and everything. And his part-time job, and everybody hated him as this other thing. The party did. But what he would do by night was he would actually put on like the big like one what are they called? The pajamas or the
Like a onesie?
underwear. Yeah, like a onesie underwear, kind of like the big red one you see in old movies.
Hmm.
And he would do that, and it actually had letters on it. He was a superhero by night.
Nice.
And everybody's like, well, we can't kill that guy, and we obviously can't kill anybody else because they're all under this guy. Like, what are we supposed to do? So he had a lot of faults, like he'd act like he could fly, he could do all this other stuff, and they tried to make up for the failures that he always had.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah, I was like,
man, don't worry about it. I'll save you today.
yeah.
I've not had anyone give me any reason for them to be a murder hobo, because that's just not the kind of games I've run.
There's always the classic thing of like
Yeah.
making your tavern a level, your tavern owner a level 20 fighter who's a retired adventurer. It's always
Yeah.
It's like cause problems.
fuck up.
Yeah. Don't mess up.
Don't fuck up. I gotcha.
Hey, you could always make like the mayor over the town, some kind of hag.
A hag in power is great.
Who says he
they
hasn't done
understand
that?
the bureaucracy, and they're just like they're always making deals.
Yeah. Be like, she runs this town like a ship. Yeah, tight.
Yeah, I had there's a city in my campaign that is literally ran by like a crime syndicate, and the mob boss, as it were, was like this small halfling, because again I love playing against type. So like this halfling who's not necessarily like a monk but has wrappings on his hand, and the first scene you're introduced with this guy is that he's breaking the horn off of a tiefling, and just like snapping it effortlessly as the party walks in, and he's like, oh, excuse me, hold on, let me just clean up a little bit, and sort of very suave and kind of like is non-threatened. When if you really want to make a villain threatening, especially to like murder hobos or like I'll kill everything, waste high level abilities in small things.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
like your archmage who is a villain, they walk in, he's like, sit down, you want tea? Oh, it's very hot, hold on, time stop, just on the tea, there we go, now it's cooled off, got a few seconds to blow on it, go ahead and have a drink. It's like, wait, what'd you do? Level 9 time stop. What? You don't never heard of magic? No.
Yeah.
Simple
Oops.
things. Simple things.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I think we've actually entered the end of our time here in the tavern. I want to thank Mike for being here. Mike, before you go, why don't you go ahead and let everyone know where we can find you, what you're up to, what's coming down the pipeline, and all that fun stuff.
Oh boy. Well, first things first, go to arcanecircle.games, and there you can create a free account and find your game today, or list yours today. Become a professional GM. Hey, if you ever made your players feel something, you can become a professional GM. If you want some amazing stories, you can always go to Arcane Focus D&D. You can find us most socials, as well as Arcane Circle. You can find us most socials. What we have in the pipeline, I mentioned a long list in the very beginning of what we currently have offering right now. What we're building right now is a character sheet generator, or not generator, but like a template where you can make your own character sheets and have that attached to your accounts. We also have the skeleton of a VTT right now. That's later down the road, but we have that in the works right now. Yeah, keep an eye on us, because I think in a week and a half we should have our training module released. It's going to have one series of videos, which is going to be table safety and safety tools. That is going to be sort of the main focus, and we're going to slowly add to it, talking about DM tips, D&D, system-specific things, site navigation, and more.
Nice. Well, you all heard it here. Go find Mike on everything. We put the links out in the chat right now, so you can go check it all out. Not only to arcanecircle.games, but also to his link tree. So all the fun stuff for you. All right. couple of things, housekeeping items, as it were. Tomorrow night, I'm back in the garage. I am working on that godforsaken Enterprise. I might rage quit again. I don't know yet. We'll see. Jacob knows what I'm talking about.
I don't know who feels worse about that, me or you.
Yeah, Mike, I was working on a kit for the Star Trek Enterprise NX-01 from Enterprise. There are some tiny little pieces, and they flew everywhere.
Much love to those who do miniature painting and building. I don't have the attention span that you guys are built differently, where you have steady hands where I do not.
No, lies, slander.
quote from the last one. Oh shit! It went past my face. I'm never gonna find that again. Oh shit! I heard it. It went, and it's there. I don't know.
Yep, that's what happened.
The fact that you subject yourself is well enough telling me that you have the iron grit to start. I would never. I made one thing. I painted one thing. I was very lucky at Mysticon to talk to Iron. Was it Iron Tusk? Iron Tusk painting.
Yeah.
And I painted this a face fighter, which don't look at it. It's not. It's not good.
It's not the best.
It's fine.
Hey,
Everyone starts somewhere. Trust me. Go back and watch me paint.
High grade, you got this.
That starts somewhere.
Why is this relaxing? It's not.
I mean, last week I definitely started questioning my entire life choices on this.
I think I questioned your entire life choices with that too.
Yeah, well, I'm doing it again tomorrow night at 9:30 Eastern. So come back for that. Let's see. Monday we have Dress to Quest. No, not Monday. Never mind. It's an off week. God, there's nothing else going on. We have
more times for you guys to hang out for the painting.
Oh boy, we have Tavern Talks next Wednesday. Then, yay!
Is it not Candela Monday?
I don't think it airs this Monday because Alex is out, and I don't think she's got the edits ready. So I think that's taking a week off, Candela. But you can go back and watch the first episode.
Yeah.
The first episode. My bad.
And of course, you can go through our entire list of games that we already have recorded that you can actually go in and watch. So those are always fun to go back and catch up on the stories, things like that. Before
we got a whole entire catalog on
season
YouTube for Dress to Quest. We've got Power Rangers, Guardians of the Grid, and Night of the Worm. So, which is our World of Darkness kind of hybrid game of Vampire the Masquerade and Werewolf.
Apocalypse.
Yeah. So, fun times all the way around. And of course, we got much more along the way. I like I said earlier, Power Rangers is going to kick into gear at the end of March. So, keep an eye out for that, and we'll start plugging all that stuff. Anyway, before I keep rambling on and dragging and droning, I want to thank everyone here for being here tonight. It's been a wonderful time talking with you, Mike. I got nothing else. Jacob, you got one final hurrah?
Oh, stick around for after the show because we'll be rating somebody.
That's right.
Here's the thing to end on is if you're thinking about going into TTRPGs and running your own games and telling your own stories, hey, even if everyone has played Strahd and every other module to death, no one can tell a story like you can. So go tell some stories.
And add a hag.
I fucking love that. Fucking love it. All right. So on that note, stick around. We are going to be raiding. I'm going to try and find someone right now to raid. I'm going to put up the end screen, but don't go anywhere because, like I said, I'm going to find somebody like in a minute. Night, everybody.